What?
Rene
Wow.
Ghilley.
Wow, René, that's very nice call. Hein.
Thank you.
Wow, le call de mutant, gros.
A little announcement, guys, because for the last years we have been delivering coaching services to mid and high stakes players with the CFP, Mechanics of Poker and Masterclasses. And now we have ventured into the lower stakes with the release of our Poker Ambition Academy. In this academy, you will be receiving weekly interactive webinars based on your pain points. We will be discussing all areas that you can improve in to become a more successful poker player, taught by coaches who have walked the path that you're currently walking. So if you're interested, go over to the site and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the academy. Hi there and welcome back again to another video here at the Poker Ambition channel. Today part 2 of our live cash game Adventures. If you haven't seen part 1, go check that out. The game has a couple of different rules. We're playing a 7 deuce and an 8-3 game. Basically whoever wins a hand with one of those hands then gets 150 euro from each opponent at the table. There's also some bomb pots involved. We have the stand-up game, which actually the first hand in this video is gonna be in a stand-up game, which basically means that if you win a hand, you can sit down and whoever stands last has to pay everyone 150 euro. So it creates some interesting dynamics as we will see in this hand that is about to start. I think that was about it. Let's get into the action and see what develops. So this is where we left off. 16k for the Wakko, Lupu crushing it with 18k. And indeed we can see here we are all standing up for the very first hand. You can also see a wig at the table. Basically the person who stands last will also have to play, I think, for 15 minutes with that wig on. The hand starts with a limp from Johan. A limp from the small blind, and I bump it up with queen 4 off because I am standing, and the other person who limped in from the small blind was also standing. So basically if he folds, I don't have to pay everyone 150 euro and I get 150 euro off him. So it's an interesting dynamic. That's why you see me raising here with the queen 4 off, and that's why you probably see him limp calling 150 with 10-7 off. Flop is 9-6-7, which I think does very badly, given he found a hand that he didn't want to raise pre-flop, then limped, and then did want to call. I also don't really understand this limping strategy. I think he should just be raising a lot, or limp re-raising a lot. The limp calling, I'm not really sure. But these strategies with the 7 deuce in there, 8-3 off in their stand-up game, it's a bit complicated and hard to understand. Maybe, for example, he doesn't want to raise because he thinks I'm just gonna 3-bet almost any 2. You know, this could also be the case. But yeah, I think a very good flop for him, so I decide to check back.
Take 1, check.
The turn is a 9.
Take 5, bet.
And he fires out 300 euros, which is almost the size of the pot. And now it's up to us. And now you think, Wakko, why did you include this hand? This is an obvious fold, my friend. But like I said, if I lose this hand, I will have to pay 150 euro to everyone at the table. And that's quite costly. Whereas if I win the hand of my direct opponent, I get 150 euro off him, and I don't have to pay 150 euro to the rest of the table. So there's extra pot. So it's actually not me calling 300 to win 600. No, it's actually me calling 300 to win 1500 or something. So I do think I still have the best hand some of the time. I mean, if he has 10-7 off, he can also have 10 jack off, jack 8 off, jack 5 off maybe. So I'm gonna call and see what develops.
6-1, call.
Ça veut pas lâcher.
Yeah.
River's an 8. The most terrible card in the deck, as I just summed up. Jack 5, Jack 8,
6-5, bet. 75.
10 Jack. And he makes a very funky bet of 75 euro in a pot of, let's see, yeah, 900 or a little bit over 900. And I start stretching and raise up my hand like, what the hell am I supposed to do in this spot? It really feels like an...
It seems to be an induction size where I think he thinks I would fall for this with 1 pair type holdings.
So I decide to not spaz out and just accept that even though I'm getting like 75 euro to win on 1.5k, I decided I'm just literally never ahead. And he's probably also not falling to raise, so I'm gathering the €150 chips. Not to put in the pot, but to fold and to give to new players.
75, le plus facile, tu dois montrer.
Ah oui, non.
Le plus facile. 150. Avec un bet 75, apprécié.
C'est le temps que
tu cuises un œuf.
Next hand.
C'est dans les poker rooms. C'est pour que le jeu soit fluide.
I call from the big blind from
Rajoute du lubrifiant.
against a raise from Johan on the button. He has 6-3 diamonds. We actually don't see my hand, but I actually have 9-5 of spades. Or 9-5 suited, not really sure if it's spades. Flop goes check check, and turn is the 5 of diamonds. I think I have an easy check with 9-5 of spades. That's what I do, I check.
6-1, check.
And now it's up to Johan, who now has
6-3, bet.
an open-ended to go with his flush draw. He decides to bet, and it's up to us. Well, we have just turned bottom pair, and I actually think this is quite a good spot to throw out a little raise. We're blocking some of the 2 pairs that he could have made on the turn. We're blocking a hand like pocket 5s that he could have made on the turn. We have an open-ender as a 10 or a 6 makes us a straight. He checked back the flop, so he's quite capped. I think in general all the ingredients are here to throw out a check raise. Bluff.
Les gars, je pense qu'ils ont le temps encore. On va jouer 3 mains par heure.
And I indeed raised to 500. He bet 55, so it is like a 10x raise. I think in general this is good on this type of boards, in this type of spots where he's just very capped, you just want to go very big. He gives me the stare, and we see a river. And actually Bink trips on the river, so this is a very good river for me. And I think now there's only one thing that I can do, which is to hope that he has a jack, an 8. I think this is definitely a board that he can check back a hand like king jack, ace jack some of the time. And I just hope that he has an 8, 9s, 10s that basically have the nut blockers towards a straight. So, and hope to get called off. I think that's the only strategy with trips here. So I go for a big bet, 1600.
1725.
Johan obviously has 6 high.
3 fold.
Thank you.
So lucky river,
Janelle, I need change.
good play. Actually, I have a new guy joining the table.
Rene, 125.
And he says Rene 75, which basically means I think 75 in French.
Okay.
5 fold.
And I'm in there, he's very happy about
That's
it.
the dark. 5-4.
And he actually bets €100 in the dark. And as you can see, I snap call €100 in the dark as well. This is a heads up pot. He's small blind, I'm big blind. We have ace 10, he's king queen, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's Sir Flo. And let's see what develops.
You call in the dark. Let's go.
Call in the dark, bet in the dark, so we immediately see a turn. This is stuff that don't really happen in online poker.
You bet again or no?
So I ask him if he's gonna bet again, but he's chickening out. Turn is an ace.
6-4, check.
He snap checks, and we obviously have ace 10. So we're going to fire out a little bet.
6-1, bet.
And I think the calling in the dark made it very useful for us, as basically we can now have anything. Let's say we had a hand like 7-8. Normally I would fold that on the flop, but since we called in the dark, you know. And here I actually also see Johan with a wig and the chain. This means that he lost the stand-up game and therefore has to wear certain accessories that make him look like a very handsome guy.
I'm good.
Sir Flo makes the call with king queen. And we see a river. There's a deuce. This is going to be a trend in this series. I was running very well in terms of rivers. I think there was literally 3 scenarios where I would just hope for a deuce and a deuce came. Obviously one night of poker, you know, luck is going to be a very dominant factor. He checks, and it's up to us now on the river. We fire out, I think, like 800.
One bet. 1000 no.
Oh, even go bigger. I even bet 1000.
It's expensive.
And he finds it quite expensive. I was not really sure if this guy was a recreational or a pro. Later I found out he was a pro, but he was definitely in a funky mood.
6-4, fold.
So maybe in terms of bet sizing, I went a little bit too greedy there.
Good
But
point.
you know, he played a couple of hands funky, he came in funky.
It's a bait.
I didn't know he was
Le
good.
Malt Express avec Sir Flo.
Round 2.
125.
C'est connu ça le match.
Il limps in.
C'est pas l'expression pour dire les règles qui s'installent et qui se broquent et qui...
What do you think?
And he goes for the limp re-raise.
He's expensive, man.
Now I find it expensive.
René, the Cirflow Solver.
125 was good price, man.
Yeah, Neo 500.
Okay, okay.
He has line for. He has so many lines.
Yeah, I know.
Tricky
Very
lines.
creative solver. Huh?
He's a creative solver. Very recreative solver. He's a very recreative solver.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, he's
René.
a hero solver.
Yes.
I think I have to bet small.
Let's go on.
Bet small range.
Every board.
Small range. 250. 6-4.
I think.
Such a solver.
That's
But
cheap.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure.
Well
You're
played.
not sure?
Maybe,
Tell him.
maybe if I do 800, everybody gonna laugh. So I
No,
bet, you know.
we don't judge.
We don't judge. We take your money, that's it.
That's shitty card. Attends. Je sais bet. René,
Yeah.
400.
400.
400.
So I left this theater play out a little bit as it was quite a funny conversation so far. He claimed that he is his own solver and we saw that here. It's up to us now and he obviously did a horrible turn. He bets quite small on the turn. I think, you know, he can still have a wide variety of hands. As I said, I wasn't really sure who this guy was. He just came in, played funky, so not really intent to fold nines here straight away with a game that also includes like 3-8 that he could have here.
Don't make crazy thing. Hein.
Okay.
Il est dans sa tête le surflow. Il est dans sa tête là. Là, ça.
Ouais.
Still 7 deuce?
No.
Better. 8-3. Well, 8-3 is a pair. That 1,500. 6-4. Yes!
And I snap fold the river. I think when the flush completes, also in terms of how comfortably he was throughout the hand, I just didn't think he was bluffing. I think if he had 7 deuce or 3-8, he might have played it more aggressively in some sort of way. So maybe not the limp re-raise pre-flop, for example, and just raise. I don't know. I just didn't have a great feeling. The run-up isn't very good, so I decided to fold. Next hand, we got a limp, I think, from the 2 stand-up guys left, which in this case are gonna be Pete Course and I think Clement is in there as well. And it's up to me in the big blind. I have pocket nines and I'm gonna raise it up.
Great.
Putain, il aura point lui. Hein.
And now the small blind limp re-raises, which is quite an interesting spot as he's now standing and Clement was also standing. So this could actually incentivize him to re-raise a little bit more often, as if I just folds, he can sit down, he can receive 150 euro and doesn't have to pay the 150 euro. Remember, this definitely creates interesting odds. I think it's a bit weird. Again, he went for a limp and then for a raise, just like he went for the limp and the call in the previous hands with the 10-7 when I had the queen 4. But hey, I have nines, I just call and let's see what develops.
T'as commandé tout ça pour toi?
Ouais.
Flop comes 4-8. He checks. And I have a decision now. I'm not really sure what's going on in the hand, but I don't see much other options than just check and see what develops. Turn is a king. He thinks about it for a little while and throws out a pot bet. And I think this is our real first decision in the hand. Like I said, the game was quite funky. Everyone was playing quite funky. He's basically saying that he trapped something. I mean, the most likely hand that he's saying that he has is ace king. which could limp with break, which could check the flop, which could now pot the turn. Same with aces that wanted to go for a check raise. Let's say he had queens or kings. If he was in a slow playing mood, I think they will usually slow play again. He could still have a hand like 7 deuce maybe, you never know, or anything random for that matter. I mean, he has ace 9 off, so. This guy didn't strike me as a recreational though. He made some okay moves earlier on, so I did think he was at least a semi-to professional player. River is a 3.
All in.
And he now goes all in for, I think, pot again. So it's 2 pot bets here. And it's up to us. And I give him the little stare. And just try to make sense of the hand in my head. I mean, the guy is saying that he has a good hand, right? But I was not really feeling it. I mean, the limp, the re-raise, yeah, you know, it all sounds cool. But in general, in this game, people just show up with way more funkier hands than I expect. Same with the 10-7 off. Obviously, I saw him limp call because if you win the hand, you have to show it in the stand-up game. So, as well, I saw some other hands, dubious hands, pre-flop choice. So ranges are way wider than I would say in a normal game. So basically, if he's saying that he has a king, let's say he had a random king that he limp re-raised, he could have just c-bet the flop. So I think it's way more likely he's repping something like really strong, like a slow played aces, ace king, maybe a king jack suited could be, or just a king jack in general. But like I said, random bluffs I do think makes sort of sense. I actually thought about this hand for quite a while. And to throw in a little bit of live reads as well. As you can see, I was staring a lot. I'm sitting and basically I'm trying to make sense of the hand. In terms of live reads as well, I think I was tanking for like 2 minutes. He didn't look the most comfortable. Obviously my live read skills are not great, but his heart rate went through the roof. I did hear, I think it was Vader Holes in a podcast about lifestyles or something that said that the reasons people were tanking and the reasons why they now have time bank chips is because a lot of players would wait for a long time and see if a player would slow down and become more comfortable, usually meaning that he's comfortable with the situation as a hand. And if they don't become any more comfortable and their heart rate remain high and they keep remaining very stressed, that usually they are bluffing. So there was some extra factor with the fact that, you know, the game was played quite random that led me to make the call.
Non. Oh, c'est cool.
Wow. Oh putain, bon call.
What?
René de
Wow.
Bali.
Wow, René, that's very nice call. Hein.
Thank you.
J'aurais
Wow, bravo, René.
J'aurais pas call cette main.
Allez, on peut s'asseoir du coup. C'est bon, on peut s'asseoir.
Je suis fou.
Yes,
Non,
you
non,
are.
nice call, mec. Je suis fou. Je suis fou. Ouais, tu es.
Franchement, nice call. Wow, le call de mutant, gros.
And in terms of if you're in the situation bluffing, in general, right, I always, when it comes down to live tells and stuff, I'm always like, yeah, listen, if I play big pots live that I'm not used to, in general, my heart rate will go up, whether I have a hand or not. But obviously, at some point, if you do move in and you have a hand, at some point, you will become a little bit more comfortable. What I usually do when I make a bluff, this is maybe a good tip for online players who go play live sometimes. When I make a bluff, in my head, I'm just like, wow, this bluff is so fucking good, or this makes so fucking sense, that basically I always get to believe this is such a great play, and I actually notice myself calming down quite a lot. Okay, so not making that read on me, buddies.
25.
Here we can actually see that everyone is now wearing wigs. Basically, the poor guy, our poor friend, Sir Flo, German guy, actually he had a German flag, but I'm pretty sure he's French. He lost, and then, you know, I decided to tag him along with a little wig and gave Johan a little bit
75.
of a nice necklace.
C3 raise.
I go for a raise from the small blind,
C4 fold.
and Johan calls. I think I have, what do I have? Oh no, wait, Johan opened the bottom with ace deuce. I have queen 6. This is how the hand went.
Ça doit être à
Bottom
30
for the big blind.
secondes, un truc comme ça.
I check.
C1 check.
Johan will decide to
150.
c-bet,
C3 bet. 150.
and
150 to call.
I'm gonna go for a little raise here with my queen 6. I have some backdoors going on in terms of straight draws, But in general, I think 3-3-7 is a very good board for me. Like I said, the game is time raked, so basically there is no effective rake that would influence the hand. Everyone is playing very loose, so I would also defend quite a wide range here, which includes you know, a hand like 5-4 off, 6-4 off, any suited hand, a lot of threes. So I think this is just a good spot for me to do a lot of check raising.
450. 450 to call.
Yo thinks about it for a while and decides to call with the backdoors, which I think is fine.
Sit 3, call.
Turn is a 7. Pairing the board now, obviously this is quite bad in terms of my gutters, as now sometimes my gutters will have no equity whatsoever, as he can have a 3 or a 7 and then I'm just dead. So I decide to check. Obviously my hand has nothing as well.
Sit 1, check.
I do think I will have some barrels, mainly direct draws, but I think a complete YOLO hand like this is not going to be in there. He
Sit
checks
3,
back.
check.
And the river now is a 5, which is actually quite interesting. If you look at my more likely check raising hands like 5-4, 5-6, 6-4, they would have now made something. So I think the amount of bluffs that I have are significantly reduced. I do also think that I can definitely be checking a 3 or a 7 on the turn to kind of trap him. As for example, if I have a 7, he has a flush draw, obviously I want to keep him in, as that has 0%. So I think I can wrap some hands quite nicely here with a small bet.
Sit 1,
And
bet.
kind of
400.
force him to fold like some overs like he currently has in his flush draws. So yeah, that was basically the plan.
Sit 3,
Yes, sir.
fold.
Non, je
So
suis
you
pas
don't
con-
need to bet very big because, you know, I'm targeting a hand that he has. This hand actually, as we can see, there's 400 in the pot. And everyone already gets dealt called, dealt
Mais non.
cards. This means this is a little bump
Pas un
pot.
problème.
Ah merde, non, j'ai rien.
T'es con ou quoi?
And the flop comes
Oh,
3-3-8.
Blas,
3
Mais
is
trois, c'est pas
very
mal.
lucky, hein. Very lucky guy, hein. Check.
Sit 3, check.
8-3, it's very lucky to have 8-3 in this pot, huh, because you are almost sure to win 450 plus 400, at least. 850. Ah ouais, celui qui a 8 et 3, il y a 850 là. Dur de perdre.
I'm on the button.
Sit 5, bet to 300.
Picos bets 300 with the ace queen. It's a bit of a weird-ish bet in my opinion. I have 8-4.
Sit 1, call.
Easy call on the button.
Sit 4, fold.
Brebis égarés, on dira les garés.
Et on dira le petit.
Two players.
Turn is a king and diamonds.
Ouais, tu m'aurais chaud un 6 comme
He
ça.
now checks.
J'aurais dû faire
Bah, comme ça.
je
And I
savais,
think
putain.
there's
Comme ça.
not much else to
C'est
do than
randomisé.
check. He could still be checking an 8 himself. Maybe even a better hand that slows down because a diamond got in there.
J'achètais le
So
randomizing.
Mais non, t'as rien.
his
c'est
big
vrai,
bet is also a little bit weird. I think he could still have just complete garbage like 9-10 or something.
Ça faisait combien 1800? Il
10
faisait
jack
combien le pot?
that he was trying to steal the pot with. Now the river is a
Ah ouais?
diamond and a 6. And he lines up for a 2,000 euro
Pas
bet.
le droit.
Okay. And it's up to me.
Ah, c'est pas-
I have
c'est
the
pas faux,
decision
ce que je
now.
viens de dire.
2,000 euro in a pot of 1,000. This was right after we made the little hero call with nines. He went to the cashier, came back with more money. I usually think after a bluff like that, people are more likely to not make another big bluff like that versus maybe even the same guy. So this is something that I could take in consideration. I think his line in general doesn't make any sense, to be honest. I think, like I said, just a hand like 9-10 or 10 jack or something, that in my opinion makes sense. But I just think this sizing 2,000 is really focused on, I hope you have a diamond and you're going to call. Whereas let's say he would have bet a pot or something, I would have been way more likely to call, because I think that's the sizing that he just puts an 8 in a very tough spot. So for the sizing reasons and the reason that I just don't think he was gonna throw out a big bluff again against me straight after I just called a big bluff against him, I decided to fold. I thought it was just greedy versus the diamond.
Sit 1,
Indeed was.
Cher. Je l'ai perdu.
So anything smaller, you would have got paid off, I would say.
Sorry.
Another little bump pot, it seems like, because we're going straight to the flop.
Ok, check.
Flop is 10 for 10. Check, check. I'm in the cutoff. and I decide to try a little stab at the pot with the 7-9 of diamonds. There are some possibilities in the future, so I
Je
think
suis mort de
it's
faim,
fine
mec. Vraiment.
And basically for the
Prendre
same
deux
hand
celui-là.
category choice that I bet, Johan now decides to raise in position.
275.
6-3, raise, 275.
So far I like how both players are playing the hand.
5,
And now it's up to us, and now you would say, yeah, well, Mr. Wakko, you have 9 high, you get raised, you took a stab, this is it.
Toujours, je me sens pas bien.
But I actually decided otherwise and decided to make the call. Now, why did I make this call? I think I can be stabbing at the spot with quite a wide range. Obviously, also Johan can raise at this spot with quite a wide range. We do have some backdoors. I just want to call and kind of see what develops. Maybe we speak, maybe we bink a 9, maybe a gutter, maybe it goes check and we can steal the pot on the river. I just thought we were going to win this pot often enough to invest in another 75 euros. So I check, turn deuce, no one improved. Johan also decides to check, so this is kind of what I was hoping for. And now the river is up to us, and it's a queen. If you look at the hands that I'm going to be betting here on the river, it's mainly going to be a 10. Let's say I had a 4, I'm most likely to check again. Let's say I river the queen somehow, I don't think that's really the case, but I think I'm just going to bet air or a 10. I actually don't think I'm going to have much bluffs in this line, or at least this is what I thought. So I thought actually this play was quite credible. Talking in terms of the live tips that I just gave you, in my head I was definitely like, wow, these bluffs make a lot of sense because I have quite a lot of 10s and very few bluffs.
Back. 1,500. 1,500.
So Johan here is jack high. And to my surprise, he's actually considering it.
I don't believe you. So sur either a 10 or a full bluff.
Richard, je peux couper le micro? Je vais 3 minutes dehors, là, faut que j'aille prendre l'air.
Looking for a tell.
Je me sens pas bien.
Looking for even more tells. This is a clear spot where his intuition is telling him this guy is fucking with me. But his logic is saying, dude, you have jack high, you're blocking a lot of his bluffs. Why would you ever make this stupid call? He's gonna show you a 10 and you look like an idiot.
Je bloque un peu des backdoors, Oh, je suis vraiment le pire. I'm the worst. Non, en plus je bloque PT3 et tout, donc c'est nul. Ah, il y a un moment, faut arrêter de faire des conneries.
Poker face, Rene, poker face.
I wanted to call that.
6-3. You want to go jack high?
Yeah. It is good.
Was a good call actually.
Yeah, I believe so. 6-7, yeah, no 7-9, yeah. I was very close, huh?
Oh, if you made that call,
I was very close.
I would have stopped and just walked away.
Like I said, if he would have made the call, I would have quit the game and left. Because this would be the most insane call I've ever seen in my life. So massive respect for him to even consider it.
But no, you should not, because that's what you rep, bro. You're repping to me those
At
backdoor.
or something like that.
Or backdoor that I beat. The problem is my 8 of fucking club,
Yeah,
because 8-3 and...
or the jack as well, right?
Yeah.
Jack as well, yeah.
Yeah, jack as well, but especially 8.
No, yeah, they're both.
Because you don't bluff that many jack high compared to 9 and 7 You don't bluff that many jack high compared to that.
No,
Like,
like,
bro. I should have believed myself and called jack high and fuck everything. People would have said that I cheat and it would have been nice.
Mais il y avait une oreillette.
David said, I make a
If you
YouTube
can,
video.
yes.
Don't be asking.
Yeah, of course.
You hear game
If I was
cheating,
cheating, I
boom.
would have called.
Mike Postle with the call.
Mike Postle. Mike Postle call, yeah. It's my fucking, at the end of my fucking end of club, but block the... Yeah, but what, the photos are great. I'm bullying every bomb pot, bro. There is like some reason that I'm thinking, you know, like... No, I should have called, that's what I should do, but I'm not in the game tonight. I'm just like outside of the game. I was so close to call.
Ah, would you consider it? Like, it's that I already think it's sick that you even considered it.
Yeah, it is sick.
Bro, Like, what do you think?
In my head, I was like, wow, this is a very good bluff. I bet called the flop. I only have like
It's a good
some
bet.
very,
I want to.
very good.
You think I call against another player? I want to call against you, bro, because you're a great player. So
I was like, is there enough bluff in this sizing river?
No,
There
this is what I thought like, oh yeah. Okay,
I should just call and be the fish of the table. That's what I
No,
feel.
you were literally.
I should have called. That's it. I'm so stupid.
You were clearly.
Oh, c'est insane.
Call.
So I decided to keep that little chat after the hand in, obviously, as it was quite a sensational consideration of a call.
Okay.
So for this last hand
Send
of the session, I open up the
Rene
king queen from the
versus-
small blind. Johan calls in the big blind with king 8. King jack deuce flop, easy. C bet range-ish. Johan has an easy call. Turn is a 6. And I think this is spot I'm going to do quite a lot of overbetting. So I decide to overbet 400 in a pot of 155. And Johan calls. Johan has a very easy call. Even though actually in this game having an 8 is not very great, as I can have 8-3 myself. So having an 8 is usually terrible in terms of bluff catching, but still I think king 8 is a call here. Hoping for the deuce again. Actually this time maybe a 3. The deuce didn't hit. A straight did complete, which both players I think can have. Think due to the river being a 9, I don't think I can bet too big with my hand. So I'm gonna go for an 800 euro bet. As you can see, I tried to bet exactly in the same way, or put my chips in the same way as the last hand, obviously versus a guy like Johan. Every time when I play a hand, I'm trying to, you know, make the same posture, not give away anything. But then again, this is only consciously. I don't know what I give away subconsciously, obviously. Whereas versus some of the other players that you saw, I'm a bit more loose because I don't think they will pick up on anything. Putain! Putain means, yeah, it's not a great scenario in French. That's the French that I do understand. And yeah, it's quite a tough spot, and I think he goes for the, tries to go for the tail again somewhere underneath the table. But I think having the 8 here is really bad. So I think he has a fold. Hands like Jack Queen or something, I think now become a better call.
Right.
And he does indeed make the correct laydown. He's very disciplined. And I show him that he made a good fold.
I'm not sure. King. I have a king also. King 8. Rene, thanks for being with us. I think you won a lot. How much?
Session came to an end. Johan thanked me. I'm stacking and racking up the chips.
Like,
Thanks for the invite.
17, 18, 19.
And we profited a nice little 16,300 euros in this game. So thank you a lot for inviting me to the game, Johan. This was it for the live play session. Not really sure if I'm going to play live anytime soon again. But I definitely think this was a good opportunity to make some more YouTube content. And definitely something different than what we're used to. From now on, the next videos, I'll probably focus a bit more on the online grind again. This was just a nice adventure. In the very far future, I do intend to play more live. But right now, my goal is to play more 5K, 10K online. So that's what we're going for. If you want to see me in that journey, keep on following the channel. I will be releasing various types of videos to give you guys a little bit more insight of how I try to get there. If you're interested in any sort of coaching of us, go to pokerambition.com. We have a various coaching service for various levels of players. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to follow the journey. Thank you all for watching and see you in the next video.